Bärlie and Red Nosed, the story of two very unlikely friends. It is evening. The whole world is calm. Over the horizon, the moon has risen and shines brightly through the open window. Sam is sleeping. Everyone is sleeping. The bedtime story his father had read has gently taken Sam into dreamland. All is quiet. Really? Not quite. Two on the bench have a twinkle in their eyes as they look forward to their joint ventures. Says Baerli, eager and full of zest for action. Oh, Red-Nosed! What are we gonna do on this awesome night? How about a leisure stroll through the forest? Red-Nosed replies. The hustle and bustle of adventure were not his thing. Let's go then, says Baerli happily and helps Red-Nosed onto the windowsill. The world out there is waiting for us. I should not let the little one go out alone, Red-Nosed thinks, and climbs out of the window, almost on his own. There they stroll. Now quite carefree, not knowing yet what big adventures lie ahead for them tonight. But what is that? A blackberry bush? In the middle of the forest, by the wayside, what a wonderful find for Bärlie and Red Nosed right now. They pluck the berries and shove them into their mouths. A few blackberries make it onto a big green leaf, providing a tasty snack later for the road. Picking blackberries is a lot of fun, but it is also very exhausting and tiring. So Bärlie and Red Nosed, finding a comfortable spot to sit by a large tree, stop for a rest in the middle of the forest and in the middle of the night. It is super awesome and lovely to be in the forest with you, says Bärlie. You are my best friend. However, it does not remain silent for very long. On the contrary, a lot of animals fly, hop and jump from all around, and everyone has an opinion that they announce loudly without any hesitation. Eee-oo! The bear is way too small, croaks the owl, and sits down on top of a tree. And the red-nosed hedgehog is way too big, giggles a deer who peacefully graze next to them. And also hedgehogs usually do not walk upright. Yes, you two are truly a funny couple, says the leader of the wild boar pack, while his two siblings nod behind him with their pointed snouts. Bärlie and Red Nosed do not care about all the talk of the forest animals. The two are happy together and know what they have with each other is very special. But what nobody knows, that the great adventure is waiting just around the corner. An adventure in a night that they will remember for a long time. Suddenly the world turns white. Wham, boom, bang, boom, krach, krunk. And then a plane smashes with a big "oh" into the clearing between the trees. The pilot is the only one on the small plane. He breathes but does not move. The cat, who just as suddenly appears out of nowhere, says, I'm gonna sit on him and step on his face with my velvet paws. That wakes my human housemates on a Sunday morning, when they don't want to get up early to prepare my food. No, the pilot is probably injured. We should not do that, says Red-Nosed. I will nudge him very softly, and then we will see, says Red-Nosed. It takes several gentle caresses with the red nose for the pilot to open his eyes. He asks, Where am I? Who are you? Then he closes his eyes again. I am Red-Nosed, and this is my best friend Bärlie, says Red-Nosed. The pilot looks puzzled and groans in pain. "Hey, pilot," says Bärli kindly, "would you like a blackberry?" Blackberries? The scent of the forest, the sweet taste of blackberries. This reminds him of long and scenic walks in the woods in his childhood. "Yes, please," says the pilot, and smiles. Bärli places one of the juicy, ripe, dark blue, sweet blackberries into his mouth. "I'm in heaven," thinks the pilot. And so Bärli slowly feeds him a blackberry and then another. The pilot chews, swallows slowly, and stays awake. The owl suddenly hoots. There are people coming! And quickly, in a blink of an eye, all the animals in the forest disappear. Even Bärli and Red Nosed hide behind a bush. "What is your name? What day do we have today? When were you born?" ask the paramedics, who had run up the mountain with a stretcher to help the pilot. Question after question. Too many for the pilot at the moment. "I don't know," says the pilot and ponders. "But there was Red Nosed and Bärli who fed me blackberries." Okay, the medics answer. "Please rest now and everything will be fine again." "But there was," mumbles the pilot. The pilot had called "Mayday, Mayday" into his radio before he crashed, and then search and rescue was immediately started. The next morning, after the small plane crash, the accident investigators found fresh blackberries in the destroyed cockpit. But they were only surprised for a short moment, because they have no expertise in fresh blackberries. After all, they are technicians and accident investigators and not blackberry experts. When the pilot has been safely transported by the medics, Bärli and Red Nosed leave the hiding place. "It's too bad that nobody saw what we experienced tonight," says Bärli, disappointed. "That nobody will recognize our accomplishments." Then Red Nosed gently pats Bärli's shoulder with his big paw and says, "Both of us know what happened, and you are the best friend in the whole world, and that's what matters." Now Bärli is beaming with joy as the two stroll back to the house, tired but happy, hand in hand, to climb up the big tree in front of the window and back into Sam's room. "That was quite a night," says Bärli. Red Nosed smiles and leans on the bench next to Bärli. Slowly, it is becoming day again outside. While Red Nosed and Bärli rest, tired but happy on their bench, Sam wakes up with the first rays of the new rising sun. The two look like they had an exciting night, Sam thinks. But that is pretty unlikely. Whatever. Sam is looking forward to the new day and all the adventures that it will bring. That is all. Everything said, painted and done. Finished, done. End, out. Yep, that's it.